Talmud Bavli, Tractate Beitzah, page 19a at the top of the page, with the words Yibois Ema Rabbanan, Dechula Masnisim B'Shabbos, etc. And if you wish, say instead that the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis, and on a festival one is permitted even to immerse an impure vessel on account of its water, in order to purify the vessel, and the entire Mishnah is referring to Shabbat, when it is prohibited to immerse an impure vessel, but it is permitted to purify impure water by bringing it into contact with pure water in a stone vessel. The sages taught in a Beitzah with regard to a vessel that became ritually impure on the eve of a festival, one may not immerse it during twilight, a time period of doubtful status, whether it is a weekday or a festival, due to the possibility of violating the prohibition against immersing vessels on a festival. Rabbi Shimon Shizuri says, even on a weekday, one may not immerse an impure vessel during twilight because the vessel requires sunset. After an impure vessel is immersed, it remains ritually impure for certain purposes until the sun has set and the stars have come out. If one immerses an impure vessel during the twilight period, then owing to the uncertainty as to whether it is day or night, he must wait another full day until the next sunset before using the vessel. It is therefore preferable not to put oneself in a situation where one might come to use a vessel before its purification process has been completed. The Gemara asks, and does the first Tana not require sunset? It is clear that this is required. Rava said, I found the sages of the school of Rav sitting and saying, with regard to this issue, that they disagree about whether or not to accept the principle that one's intention is evident from his actions. And what are the circumstances of this dispute? They are, for example, a case where one was holding a vessel in his hand and running along at the time of twilight to immerse it. This sage, in other words, the rabbis hold that the fact that he is running along indicates that he knows that the vessel requires sunset. If he arrives at the ritual bath late, he will realize that he must wait another day, and there is no concern that he might come to use the vessel on the same day. Consequently, it is prohibited to immerse the vessel during twilight on the eve of a festival, as, since it may already be night, he will be unable to use the vessel until the next evening. Immersing the vessel would be considered to be preparing something on a festival for a weekday, which is prohibited. However, it is permitted to immerse a vessel during twilight on an ordinary weekday evening. And this sage, Rabbi Shimon Shizuri, holds that perhaps he is running due to his work that he has not finished on time, and not necessarily because he knows that the purification of his vessel requires sunset. He believes that he may use the vessel immediately upon immersion. Therefore, the sages decreed that one should never immerse vessels during twilight. Rava continues, and I said to them, with regard to the principle that one's intention is evident from his actions, everyone agrees that this is accepted. Where they disagree is, for example, in a case where a vessel became impure through contact with a creeping animal, less than a lentil bulk in size, and the vessel's owner came before the sages to ask whether a vessel becomes impure through contact with less than a lentil bulk or not. One sage, Rabbi Shimon Shizuri, holds that since he does not know this matter, that a creeping animal smaller than a lentil bulk does not impart impurity, it stands to reason that he also does not know the halacha of sunset. Therefore, there is reason to prohibit him from immersing vessels during twilight, even on a weekday. And one sage, the rabbis, who permit such immersion on a weekday, hold that it is only this halakha with regard to the size of a creeping animal that he does not know, but the requirement of sunset he does know, as it is stated explicitly in the Torah. It was taught in the Mishnah that one may immerse on a festival from one principle to another and from one group to another. The Gemara attempts to clarify the meaning of this statement. The sages taught in the Beitzah, how does one immerse from one principle to another? One who wishes to make his wine press, meaning to immerse and purify vessels for the sake of his wine press, in addition to the purification of his ritually impure pitcher, may do so. In other words, if at first he merely intended to immerse his impure pitcher, but subsequently changed his mind and decided to use it for his wine press, and he wishes to immerse the pitcher a second time for the sake of the wine press, is permitted to do so. Similarly, one who wishes to make his pitcher in addition to the purification of his vessels for the sake of his wine press may do so. That is to say, if he originally intended to use the pitcher for his wine press, and after immersing it he decided not to use it for that purpose, and now he wishes to immerse his pitcher a second time, it is permitted to do so. Since the second immersion does not purify the vessel or fulfill any obligation, it is not considered a proper immersion and is not prohibited on a festival. Similarly, how does one immerse from one group to another? If one was planning to eat the Paschal offering with this group, and he immersed himself or his ritually impure vessels for that purpose, and now he has reconsidered and wishes to eat the offering with a different group, and he wants to immerse himself or his vessels a second time for the second group, in such a case he has permission to do so, even on a festival, for the same reason. Since this immersion is not obligatory, it is not viewed as an immersion at all. New Mishnah. Beishamai Omrim. Beishamai say Beishamai ve'in somchan aleihem. Avalo olos. Beishamai say that one may bring peace offerings on a festival, but one may not place his hands on them, as this is considered using animals, which is prohibited on a festival by rabbinic decree. However, one may not bring burnt offerings apart from the obligatory daily and additional offerings of the day, because burnt offerings are consumed entirely on the altar and not by people, and slaughter is permitted on a festival only for the purposes of human consumption. And Beit Hillel say one may bring both peace offerings and burnt offerings, and one may even place his hands on them. Gemara Ula said the dispute applies only to festival offerings and obligation of the festival with respect to placing hands on them, and to burnt offerings of appearance, which must be brought over the course of the festival with respect to sacrificing them, as Beit Shammai hold that the verse "you shall observe" it is as a festival to the Lord 7 days in the year. Leviticus 23:41 indicates festival peace offerings, yes, they may be sacrificed even on a festival day, but burnt offerings of appearance, no, olos re'iyah basically, is burnt offerings of appearance, appearing in Jerusalem. No, they may not. And Beit Hillel holds to the Lord means anything that is brought as an offering to the Lord may be sacrificed throughout the 7 days of the holiday, even on the actual festival day. But with regard to vow offerings and gift offerings, which are not part of the obligations of the day, all agree, even Beit Hillel, that they may not be sacrificed on the festival. And likewise, Rav Ada bar Ahava said, vow offerings and guilt offerings may not be sacrificed on a festival. Rabbi Shimon mentions Ben Elazar said, Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel did not disagree with regard to a burnt offering that is not part of the requirements of the festival, such as a vow offering or a guilt offering, that it may not be sacrificed on the festival, or with regard to peace offerings that are part of the festival obligations, such as festival peace offerings or peace offerings of rejoicing, that they may be sacrificed on a festival, as the festival is their designated time, and if one fails to bring them, he will be unable to sacrifice them later. You know what? We're running out of time here, even though there's very little left. We can do it. Let's keep it one daf. The Beitzah continues with regard to what then they disagree. With regard to burnt offering that is part of the festival requirements, such as the burnt offering of appearance, and with regard to peace offerings that are not part of the festival obligations, such as vow offerings and gift offerings, Beit Shammai say he may not bring them, and Beit Hillel say he may bring them. The Beitzah contradicts Ula's opinion that all agree that vow offerings and gift offerings may not be sacrificed on a festival. The Gemara answers, resolve the contradiction by amending the text, and say as follows: Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar said, Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel do not disagree with regard to burnt offerings and peace offerings that are not part of the requirement of the festival, such as vow offerings and gift offerings, that they are certainly not sacrificed on a festival, or with regard to peace offerings that are part of the festival obligations, such as festival peace offerings or peace offerings of rejoicing, that they may be sacrificed on a festival. With regard to what did they disagree, it is with regard to a burnt offering that is part of the festival requirements, such as the burnt offering of appearance. And Beit Shammai say he may not bring it, and Beit Hillel say he may bring it. Rav Yosef said, there were never any grounds for objection from the outset, as have you removed all the Tanaim from the world? This is the subject of a dispute among Tanaim, and Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar's opinion was not unanimously accepted, as it is taught in a different Beitzah with regard to peace offerings that come on account of a festival on the festival. For example, festival peace offerings or peace offerings of rejoicing. Beit Shammai say, one places his hands on them on the eve of the festival and slaughters them on the festival. Beit Hillel say, one places his hands on them on the festival itself and slaughters them on the festival. And that is 19a, folks, of Beitzah.